You are listening to Love, Light, Lonnie, the podcast. I'm Lonnie Nishiyama, and join me as we discover the gifts that live within all of us and how these gifts bring us together to love, help others, inspire, and of course, vibrate higher. Welcome to Love, Light, Lonnie. Hi everyone, this is Lonnie and I'm here with Gina Ann on Love, Light, Lonnie. So today on our podcast, of course, we talk about the beautiful gifts that everybody has. And Gina in particular has a beautiful gift where she is connected with children, she is educated with it, and she also just works with them on a daily basis on top of having been a teacher for
over 18 years.
So Gina, what kind of got you into all of this?
Well, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is really exciting and an honor to be here. So I've loved children ever since I was young, and children just gravitated towards me. In fact, when I was like 12 years old, I drew a picture of what I thought my first child would look like. I have two children, Christopher and Megan.
I love it.
I was a special education teacher and academic teacher, also PE teacher, but I focused on special education for over 18 years. And then I went back and got a master's in spiritual psychology. Wow. And so I do energy work, and I specialize in the inner child because we all have the inner child. That's where all the trauma starts.
Correct. Yes. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into today with our audience, because we, especially parents and newer parents, we start to reflect on our lives and the way we're parenting and how did I get here? Am I doing it correctly? Or is there even a right way? Or I want to do it the opposite of my parents, and then I want to copy my parents here. So, I mean, I know there's trauma just from growing up in your family, but you were also touching upon trauma from just school life and teachers. And
yes, we don't escape this life without having some sort of trauma. What we don't want to do is make the trauma an illness. It's just an injury. Okay. So the trauma or the injury could occur in the smallest thing. It doesn't mean, it can go as high as being assaulted or abused. But it can be as small as someone saying something. Let's say you're singing a song and they start laughing at it. That could traumatize you where your voice shuts down. So when I work with the parents on how to communicate, and communication is the key to every relationship, especially with children.
Yeah.
So as we were raised, that was our first learning and lesson of what we thought the family dynamic should be. And so we took that. We can go either way. So it's a great story of a psychologist. It's a psychologist story where you had two twin children, and they were raised in the same household with a very abusive alcoholic father. One father became an alcoholic father. One father became a doting father, hardworking, loving, communicative, interactive. And the psychologist asked the alcoholic son, "Why did you become that?" "Because I watched my father." The other one said, "Why did you become a doting, loving father?" "Because I watched my father." See, I got chills.
Right.
So it's how we interpret how we want to raise our own. So There's no wrong. My children are 26 and 24. However, going back, yes, I probably could have done things different, but that's what I knew. But it's the fact of continuing to grow. Communication is the key. So when we experience a trauma, whatever it is, and I've dealt with all sorts of trauma with children, whether it's verbal abuse, physical abuse, or simply the expectations of a family that can cause very high anxiety because the expectations they implant that they're not good enough.
Right. And that is something that I worry about with my own children. I do feel like my parents encouraged me a lot growing up, but maybe we weren't as open or emotional as I would have liked. Also, I'm a Pisces, so everything I do, I'm just emotional.
Right.
So it's like, just cry it out, Right. But with my children now, and they're very strong-willed, I always feel like, am I doing this correctly? Do I discipline them more? Should I be a little softer? But at the end of the day, I always think communication. And if I explain to them where I'm coming from, or even if I mess up, I apologize. And I said, "Mom shouldn't have yelled at you that way. You didn't deserve that because I was upset." I feel like as long as I'm communicating, I'm at least doing my part. Because let's face it, I'm not a perfect mother. I never will be.
You are a perfect mother.
Right. There's no such thing.
You are a perfect mother because do you wake up every morning and says, "I can't wait to mess my kids up"?
No.
No. So you are a perfect mother. You're doing what is you think is best.
Right.
Communication is key. Now, you also have to have boundaries. Now, boundaries are not requests, meaning when you tell your child it's not okay to do that. You want to say it's not okay to touch that because it could hurt you.
Right.
But a boundary is not letting them get away with something that can disturb your peace or their peace. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like if they talk back or they hit you.
Right.
So also what's important in play, I love when neuroscience procreates with the woo-woo. So the art of play is very important. That is a form of communication. Children want discipline. They want play. And
Right.
discipline doesn't mean hitting. Yes, I grew up in a hitting, yelling family. I've never touched my children. I've never yelled at them. Am I right or wrong? It's just
Wow,
how
you've never yelled at your kids?
No. Meaning,
You're
well,
amazing.
have I raised my voice? Yes, but
Okay.
I came from a yelling family, so I
Right.
don't like yelling. You want a response from them. So
Right.
you want to really interact with them in a way that they understand and at their level. And when I noticed that, even as a teacher, when I lowered my voice to try to get their attention, it was calmer.
I love that. It was calmer. Because I've actually done that with my kids too. And I've been like, I'm about to scream. Okay, Lonnie, get it together. And I'm like, Mom just needs you to calm down. And if I calm my energy down, they feel it and they calm their energy down.
Well, they play on that. They're
Right.
very, very intuitive and empathic, especially when they're young. I feel
Children, yeah, they all are.
We all have a soul. You believe we have a soul? Yes, I believe we have a soul. Do you believe we have a soul?
I believe we have a soul.
I believe as we come in as children, we know all the answers, and then when we experience life, our perceptions change and our experience change with with Earth School.
Right.
So it is up to us as a parent to guide them. It is our responsibility to guide them the best we can. Not to be friends with them, but to be friendly with them. And they want to play with you. They want to interact with you. One of my greatest passions is I teach acting to children, but I also write children's books.
I was going to just bring that
That's
up.
because we're in alignment.
Okay. I was like, talk about your book. Okay.
Yeah, and it's about JoJo, and she's a fairy angel, and she's new to this planet. She's from the galaxy of the wings of children. She's my inner child. So her wings are mosaic, meaning we have to sometimes completely crumble to put it back together. And how beautiful are glass when you put every piece back together. That's what a mosaic is. That's what her wings are. And she wears a magical red stone. It's carnelian. And it beats like her heart. And what she's here to do is share her wisdom. And wisdom is, yes, it could be intellectual. Her wisdom is going through the tough, painful times and joyful times and still assisting others. And she wants to help others, just like what I want to do. I want to help others, but have fun.
Yes, have fun. I agree with that. And one of the reasons I think that you're so amazing is because not only have you gone throughout your experiences and your upbringing, but then having your children and really reflecting upon that. And I think raising them like in such an incredible way, and they're incredible humans. They are opposites, actually. You're talking about the twins. One is like more of a firecracker, your daughter, and then you have your son who's a police officer.
Yeah.
So you have two at the end of the spectrum. And I kind of feel that my children are very similar to that.
Right. Yeah, I raised them the same. I nursed them the same, but they have their own personality and their own, and they both dealt with trauma in a different way. Completely, because there was trauma in the family. Their dad was very emotionally and verbally abusive. So it made an impact. So I became what I call mother and father. And, I never cried because in my family I was made fun of when I cried. And I was very innocent when I got married. And, he said, don't think tears will ever get your way. So my children never saw me cry. And then when the spiritual waking and everything happened and my father passed away and everything just crumbled like glass, I had to pick every sliver up and rebuild and reconstruct. My children were my inspiration, my motivation. They are my true inhale and exhale in all the children of the world. I was a Girl Scout leader. Everything I do is in the embodiment of the children and the inner child. I see your inner child right now. I mean, it's just one of the gifts God or whatever you believe in, universe, gave me, is that I can see the inner child. I don't care. My youngest client is 3 and my oldest one is 89.
Right. I love that.
And through books and stories, these are conscious stories that I love, imagination and adventures. That's where it is. And we focus on time so much. And time is the past, present, and future, but I don't see it that way. I see it as memories, now, and imagination.
I love that because I have a really big imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually, my very first podcast I did, which was the last one. This is my second one.
Yay!
I know.
Thank you.
I know.
I'm
You're
honored to
welcome.
be here.
Yeah, you know. I was like, come on over, girl.
I match your.
I
match
know,
your
pink and
headphones,
pink.
yeah.
I know, yes. And I spoke a lot about my insecurities and what that was like for me growing up, and how I actually really like became a shell of a human for a long time and just pretended to be perfect on the outside. And I thought if I got good grades or if I accomplished all these accolades, then I would be accepted and loved, because that's all I wanted in life, for someone to understand me. And then as I got older and I became a parent, I had like a brand new confidence. And then I started to really do more inner work on myself and like how to get me into a better place. And look, I'm not there. I don't think I ever will be. To the day we die, we learn in our last breath. But I definitely am trying every day. And I think that'll help my children as well.
That's right. The point is you're not giving up. You want to continue to learn and grow. And that's what it's about. And we put such an emphasis on age, like an expectation. Oh, when you're a baby, you're completely innocent and dependent. And yes, their cries mean something.
Yeah.
That's the only way they can communicate. Then as a toddler, then as a teenager, they're expected to be rebellious. Why? When you get to a certain age in your 20s, 30s, you got to be responsible. You can't play anymore. You have to be an adult. And then when you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, you have to retire. Why? Who says? Retiring means rebirth. We're always reinventing ourselves. That is what's amazing about children. If we took children as our models, they go and they jump in a puddle. They don't think anything of it until one of us go, you got your shoes dirty. Right? But they were just jumping in a puddle. Now,
it's because we have expectations,
right.
We have judgments as we get older.
And they don't have a filter sometimes. And yes, we do have to have a filter.
I kind of love it though.
Yeah. This is where we come in and we offer this wisdom, that the experience that we have gone through.
And, you know, one thing that I think is really important is you were talking about rebirth and how we all go through really hard times in life. So whether that was when you were a child or even now as an adult, things get hard, and it's okay to start over again and to rebirth and to forgive yourself and not judge yourself and others and move forward. And that's something that we all struggle with, because, I don't want to lose this friend or this group because then I have to start all over, and then I don't want them to judge me, and I don't want to, it's always, and that's just one example, but it's like rebirth to me is such a beautiful thing because you learn so much from it. And then you have like a second chance or like a brand new start or a fresh start, I guess. And I love that. And I think people are really scared to do it.
Well, they are scared to do it. That's why they stay in relationships so long, even if they are abusive or not serving them, because they don't want to start over. Sometimes we have no choice but to start over. Right. So I encourage people, when you're in the place of loneliness or sadness or anger. Anger is just misplaced sadness.
Yes,
fear. It really is.
Angry
it's all in
people.
Fear. I'm so I say, go stay, go do your vacation at lonely or sad, and then come back. And I guarantee you, one action step, just one action step will lighten your mood.
Give an example of an action step.
An action step. So let's say, oh my gosh, I lost my job. I don't know what else I can do. There's nothing else I can do. Oh my God. Or this relationship, I can't get out. I'm never going to meet anyone else. You know what? Look at me. I can't do it. Like, how about we do one step of now not engaging with that person and doing something for you? We call it self-care. It's such an overused word, but doing something for yourself, making yourself first. And what I mean by that, one action step could be, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go for a walk. I know it's really silly, but movement is one of the top things you can do for yourself.
I agree. I love to move my body.
Exactly. Yes. And it doesn't mean you have to go run a marathon.
No.
And water, we are made of water. What are our tears? Our tears are words that are felt. What do they taste like? Salty. That's why I always encourage a salt bath. If you're not near the ocean, you take a salt bath. Even if you run your hands under cold water, it will help. It will switch your mind. Yes. Or just taking a breath. We are so afraid to be seen. Even the ones that you feel are so extroverted are still afraid to be seen. So when you get in this anxiety mode, an action step would count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath. It's just completely, because our body doesn't know the difference between excitement and anxiety. Our body does the same thing. Same for children. Right. And children have a tremendous tremendous amount of anxiety now. The COVID really put a number on all of us. No judgment on it. It just, we're saying COVID as because it's historical now.
Yes.
And all the children, the Zoom, we need touch. We need connection as human beings. Children, I get chills. Very much needed. This is how they socialize. You can have 20 degrees, 10 PhDs, but if you don't know how to interact, what good is it going to do?
And it's funny because during this pandemic, my husband and I decided to move closer to the water because we're like, our kids love the water. They love the ocean. And honestly, it's been really like healing. And whether you believe that the ocean does that or not, people come down here all the time and go for a jog. They go for a walk because it is healing and it really kind of grounds us and resets us and cleanses us. And so I love being by the water. I think that's like the coolest thing we could have done. And if you can't do it, like you said, a salt bath, light some candles, like all your favorite scents, like that just rejuvenates me. And it does. I usually have a really good sleep that night.
You do. It really does heal spiritually and physically. I mean, when you get injured, what do? You put your feet in a salt bath in ice water. Also, the sun gets a bad rap. I love the sun. But we are all like, short vitamin D, right? So the sun, just going out, that's an extra step, going out and just feel the sun for a moment.
Right.
There are studies shown people who don't have the sun, they're more depressed. Now, depression is in the amygdala. It's the things you tell yourself. So they're saying, I'm lonely. Oh my God, I'm alone. Anxiety is in the frontal lobe of expectations. I want to do this. I want to succeed. Am I doing okay? So the sun and the moon.
And the
moon. It all gives off energy, and I'm a big energy, and I love Western medicine and Eastern medicine, and I think if you combine it, you have to be an advocate.
I've always said that. Every time I have an injury, I'm like, well, I'll do a little acupuncture, and then I'm going to do this, and then if I need to, I'll go to the doctor and get an X-ray. But I'm always believing in like a little bit of everything because I feel that we're here and we've evolved and we are intelligent humans and spiritual humans or beings. And that's why we've created all this for ourselves, and we should take advantage of all of it.
That's right.
And we're very lucky.
I really agree. And a lot of people think spirituality, it has nothing to do with religion.
No.
I was raised Catholic, and I've been to every church. I've been to synagogues. I've been to mosques. I've been to everything because I want to experience. But spirituality is humanism, is how you treat others and how you treat yourself.
Yes. Because I think there's beautiful spiritual people in religion, not in religion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The rituals and the celebrations of religion are beautiful.
I agree.
I love Christmas. I love Shabbat Shalom. I love everything Chinese New Year.
My kids only like Halloween, so I don't know. I love candy. We watch Halloween stuff every day.
It's candy, and I love acting. I'm an actress. I love it. I felt like it really, when I was going through this rebirthing and reinventing myself in this another spiritual awakening, and we have many of them. Acting was amazing to me because I was able to emote. You dress up and you get to play a character, and I was able to cry and release everything.
Right. From all that inner child trauma.
That's right.
Actually, the first time I met you, I came to you because I feel like I needed to speak with you and understand my own gifts. And you really did help me a lot. And I've always been really grateful for that.
Thank you. You were willing to acknowledge it.
Yes.
It was just a time that you were willing to acknowledge.
Yes.
And sometimes we get like, psychic intuitiveness, woo-woo. What's wrong with woo-woo? What do we watch on the screen and listen to the music? Look, I've got chill. That's my body's glue. We like going in that imagination. Now, is intuitive imagination? No, it's that innate. It's that feeling. Have you ever walked in a room like, that's your intuition. We all have it. Some are more developed because we work on it. It is.
Before every time I do a workout, I actually have to like center my energy. I go outside for a second and I'm like, and then I go in because I can't take on everyone else's energy in that room.
We have to protect ourselves, especially when we are super empathic because we feel things 1,000 times more.
Yes.
So as a child, you're so sensitive. I'm like,
I know I was.
Me too. I was like,
or too sensitive. I did not like that.
Yeah, I was always too sensitive. I'm like, what does that even mean? For me, it's the kindness. Now, it did lead me because of inner trauma of people pleasing and putting myself last.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly how I feel.
And as mothers, we do that sometimes, and it's like, but you're a mother or a father is a separate entity of embodying who you are with relationship with other people, coworkers, friends. And sometimes we have to lose it all.
Yeah.
Because sometimes our vibration, it's not better or worse, just gets to a different level. And if they're not at that level, and what I find when we set our boundaries and we really do honor ourselves and we say, no, I really don't want to go, or I really don't want to drive again. Because I never drink. So like I'm always
Good
a
for you.
designated driver. It's just I
I'm
can't.
like,
I'm
where's the
cuckoo.
wine? No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
which is great. No, I'm a lightweight. I'm like,
Okay.
woo! Even caffeine. My kids are like, oh, she's on caffeine. I didn't start drinking caffeine until my 40s, which is really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just, and then it's like, and then my sister-in-law got me hooked on.
gosh.
She gave me a frappuccino.
Well,
I'm
it
like,
tastes
woo!
delicious too.
It's like a dessert,
Mm-hmm.
and I love dessert.
Oh my gosh, I could not live without coffee.
Yeah, so
But I just love all of who you are, because I also wanted to thank you, because I don't think I'd actually be where I am today. You and I have a lot of similarities, but we also have a lot of differences, and I love that about us. And I wouldn't have come into my own or had this confidence I do now, and especially spiritually, if I didn't go to you.
Oh,
So
well,
I am grateful for you.
I'm
for
very
that.
touched. No,
Yeah,
that
it
means
really
a lot.
helps, because you also have this background in psychology, and you're a teacher, and you have all these wonderful accolades that I think are meant to. It's part of who you are. It's part of your talent. All these little things you have are all little gifts that create your one beautiful gift. I do appreciate also that you bring this element of fun into our conversation, because it's something that I think a lot of us as adults forget to do. Just our everyday lives. We're going to work. We have to provide. We have to create a home. We have to buy more stuff. We have to have this. We have to have that. We have to have a retirement. It's draining. And although those things are important to set yourself up and you want to help your kids out, I also think it's so important to enjoy life, because I always say, when you leave this earth from this body, you're not thinking back, wow, I wish that one time I went to that conference, or I took that meeting and made a little more money, or whatever. It's like you look back and think, how did I love everyone around me? Did I show them enough? Did I do this? Did I do that? I love these memories. It's all about love. So for me, I want to enjoy life a lot more.
And you are a perfect essence of everything you have accomplished in all your accolades, but it's not completed. You're just going to keep expanding, and your children are the extension of that. I always tell my children, I'm not leaving you a legacy to leave you a legacy. I'm leaving you a legacy to grow from, not to be like, to grow from. And that's exactly what you're doing.
Right.
And even doing this podcast, you are reaching out to people. You are having people on. You are speaking to them and speaking with them. This is like a conversation. This isn't, I'm telling you what to do.
No,
you are
never,
sharing who you are
yes.
and who we are.
I feel that everyone that is listening to this podcast has a reason to be. And I feel that they will hear your message. And maybe if we even help one person, I feel like our job has been completed in this task, you know? And I'll be honest with you. I told them in my first podcast, the audience, that I was terrified to even do this. You can hear it in my voice sometimes. I get scared, and I'm not like that nervous on camera. Like, I've always been okay. But this in particular is so raw and real, and really like who I am and what I represent. And I also don't want to offend anybody or anybody that I love. So it's been really a challenge and a little nerve-wracking. But I feel like after I do maybe 10 of these, I'm going to feel really good about it. And you know what? Not everyone can be on the same page, and that's okay too. I grow this way, you grow that way, but we're all learning.
Well, you made friends with your fear, and you are doing a great job. When we're in acting, we have a script. There is no script. This is what makes it vulnerable, because you are giving and sharing a part of you. So whatever people take away that stimulates something, an emotion in them, you have done your job. Good, bad, and different. And if there is something, make a comment. We can address it. If they need further assistance, reach out to you. Right.
And everyone can always reach out to me, preferably not while I'm sleeping, because it's the only time I get to myself when my kids are around. But I really appreciate having you on today. And find Gina and her beautiful book. What is it called again? I'm sorry.
It's under Gina Ann author.com, but it's JoJo. I have like 5.
JoJo, it's so cute. It's on her Instagram as well. Where can we find you on Instagram? What's your?
It's JoJo by Gigi. Gigi's my nickname. G-I-G-I. So it's JoJoByGigi.
Got it. I love it. It's so cute. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for having Gina on. You're a beautiful soul. And until next time, this is Love Light Lonnie, and you guys are all wonderful and all have beautiful gifts. Take care.